At 8:37 p.m., the room is full. Soft laughter. Glasses clink. Cameras flash across the ballroom as high-profile guests settle into their seats. Nothing feels out of place. Nothing feels urgent. And yet, just beyond the crowd, someone is already moving. Not rushing. Not hiding. Just, moving with purpose. His name is Cole Allen. At this point, no one is looking at him. No one notices the way he keeps his head slightly down, or how his eyes don't stay in one place for long. He blends in, like he belongs there. That's what makes the next moment so difficult to understand. Because seconds later, everything changes. A sharp sound cuts through the room. Not loud enough to register instantly. Not clear enough for people to react. At first, it's confusion. Then silence. Then movement. Security shifts. Heads turn. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Somewhere near the entrance, a line that should have held firm, breaks. And that's where witnesses later say they saw him again. Cole Allen, closer now. Too close. What happened in those next few seconds is still being pieced together. But investigators believe this was not random. It was planned. Carefully. Deliberately. Because long before that night, there were signs. Travel records show he arrived days earlier. Quietly. No attention. No alerts. Just another name in a system that processes thousands every day. He checked in. Moved around. Observed. And then, there's the digital trail. Messages. Searches. Fragments of intent. Nothing that screams danger on its own. But together, they form a pattern. A pattern that only makes sense after everything has already happened. Back in the ballroom, the tension rises fast. Security closes in. Guests are told to stay where they are. Some don't. Phones come out. Voices lower. Questions spread faster than answers. What was that sound? Where did it come from? Is this real? Near the checkpoint, the situation becomes clearer. A weapon is reported. Not confirmed at first, just reported. But that's enough. Because in a setting like this, maybe is already too late. Officers move in with precision. No panic. No hesitation. They don't wait for certainty. They act on probability. And in that moment, Cole Allen is no longer just another guest moving through the crowd. He becomes the center of everything. Witnesses describe fragments. A figure stepping forward. A sudden shift in posture. Hands moving in a way that didn't match the calm of the room. And then. Containment. Fast. Controlled. Almost silent. The kind of response designed not just to stop a threat, but to prevent the room from realizing how close it came. Because that's the part most people never see. How thin the line really is. Minutes later, the scene is locked down. No one leaves. No one enters. And inside, the story begins to change. What was first confusion becomes speculation. Then fear. Then questions no one can answer yet. Who is he? How did he get in? What was he planning to do? Investigators move quickly. Footage is reviewed. Entry points analyzed. Timelines reconstructed down to the second. And what they find raises even more questions. Because according to early reports, Cole Allen wasn't stopped at the door. He was already inside. Already past the point where he should have been flagged. Already moving freely in a space designed to be controlled. That's the first detail that shifts everything. The second comes from the digital evidence. A message, sent shortly before the incident. Not loud. Not dramatic. But final. The kind of message that suggests intention had already been decided. Long before that night. And then there's the third detail. The one investigators are still trying to understand. Why that moment? Why that location? Because events like this aren't just about access. They're about timing, precision, opportunity. And whatever that plan was, it didn't fully unfold. Not because it wasn't attempted, but because it was interrupted. Now, the investigation continues. Piece by piece. Frame by frame. Trying to answer the question that lingers long after the room has emptied and the headlines begin to form. How close did this really get? Because from the outside, it looks contained, controlled, handled. But inside that room, for just a few seconds, something slipped through. And even now, no one is entirely sure how far it was meant to go.